Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how you can add a master volume for your hot rod amps, whether it's the HotRod Deville or the HotRod Deluxe, or pretty much any amp that only has a main volume on your cleans but no master volume, but it also includes a effects send and return. So we're going to utilize that to add a master volume. That way we can really get some good saturated tones on that preamp, but at the same time still be at a low volume if you're playing in a room or some type of garage setting. So this is a fairly simple build and I'm going to show you guys how to get it done. Okay, so here we have a HotRod Deville. This is my baby, and you have your two inputs, your bright, your main volume, which is pretty much the only thing I use. I don't really use the gain on this amp at all. You have your reverb and presence, which I barely even use, but you also are included an effects send and effects return. Okay, so when you have this, what we're going to pretty much do is build we're going to build something with an input and output, and we're going to have a control knob right here. It doesn't require any power because we're going to have power coming in, mess with our volume knob, then power is going to go straight back into the amplifier. It's a very simple build. I'll show you guys how to do it. So this is pretty much all I'm going to need to do this build. I have my chassis, which I just got. It is a small bear, A size. I have the bottom too. No big deal. This is the only audio pot I had, which is perfect because this is actually the one I needed. Even though it is a PC mount, that's no problem. I have no worries about that. I'll be able to still solder what I need to solder. And this one is 100K audio. So that one is very important. Make sure that you do have 100K audio on this. Next, first a nice knob to that. And we need 2 jacks. These are some simple jacks that I got off Small Bear. Any jacks will do. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing is we need to put our hole size for this chassis. So let's go ahead and do that. I want to make sure and mark it first. So I'm going to put a couple of marks and then I'll come back to the video. All right, so I went ahead and put my markings. I ended up using a grid paper and it kind of looks like it's a mess, but it makes sense to me. I kind of outlined it to see exactly how many squares it was, put it right in the middle. I kind of messed up, but I know that the big one is the correct one. And then I measured how many squares it is between here to the middle, and then I divided that. So these are my center points from here to here. So when I drill, it should look like it's kind of even. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but this is only for me. If it's off by a couple of millimeters, I really don't care. Let's drill. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a small bit when I'm drilling in here. That way I can kind of have a guide. If I start with something large like this, it may slip, and I really don't want that. So I want it on the center as much as possible. I'm also using this cardboard as kind of like a failsafe. So if I drill really quickly and it falls in, I could drill into the cardboard. It's no big deal. Also, I have my trusty notebook underneath it just in case. This is about approximately in the center. This is the most difficult one, I think. So let's get this right in the center. Looks good. Notice how I'm tapping as I'm drilling, and I'm letting the drill do the work. So I'm not really putting any pressure. It's just the weight of the drill that's drilling into this. This is aluminum. It's like butter to this. And also make sure that you do use the appropriate bit. This bit is for aluminum. Next, I'm gonna switch out my bit. Now remember, you don't want to put the same size holes because the size of the hole needed for this jack is totally different than the hole needed for this volume pot. Okay, so for the volume pot, I believe I'm using a 1/4 inch. It looks like it might be snug, but I think this will work. If I need to go bigger, I'll go bigger. Okay, let me check it real quick, see if this fits. Okay, nope, not big enough. Okay, so I'm gonna go size up. Now this one looks like it's a 5/16. It's the only size up I have. No big deal. Okay, just make sure that you put it right in the center. That one took longer than I expected to. I'm concerned about this one now. Last one. And if you have a drill press, use that. I would not recommend doing this by hand, but I don't have a drill press. Alrighty, next thing I'm going to do is connect my wiring. First I'm going to clip this on to my one-armed, I don't even know what these are called anymore, I forgot. It doesn't really matter, does it? I have this PWM cable that I'm going to use. It's 22 gauge. It'll work. Actually, the first thing I should have done is clip this wire. I need to take care of this wire. I'm gonna solder both ends, but I want to make sure that I don't have the wiring too big because I'm working with a very small area, right? So the first thing I'm gonna do is wire this to this pot, and then I'll worry about everything else. Let me separate these. You know, to be honest, I think I might as well just separate all of it. That way I don't have any type of weird frequencies jumping, right? So I just separated all my wires. Now I'm gonna strip them. Okay, do a little twist. And I want them separated, but I'm going to hold them all together so I can do all three very quickly. Just putting a little bit of solder, that way this is easily able to connect to my pot, especially since it's a PC mount and I'm not able to wrap the wire around like I would on here, right? So now that I kind of done that, I'm gonna put black to ground. So I'm gonna put black on, yeah, I'm gonna put black on this side, which is gonna be my ground, and then my output signal, this is gonna go to the effects return. It's gonna come in here, and then this one's gonna be coming from the effects send, right? Black always is ground, so I'm gonna keep that pretty consistent. First, I'm gonna try to see if I can add a little bit of solder to this. Then my soldered point should connect very easy. Yes, it did. I think my input should be white and then my output should be red, so I'll do that. This is going to my output. Not too shabby. All right. All right. Not too bad. Too bad. So let me see if I can bring it to you guys. Hopefully you can see my ground, my output signal, and then my white is my input signal. And if you swap these two around, it's really not that big of a deal. It depends on how you turn your pot, right? But definitely your output needs to be on the middle one. That's the most important of all. All right. So this pot's supposed to come in here. That looks good. The hole's a little big, but it's the only bit I had. I didn't have another size. I gotta go shopping. So I'm gonna put my pot in. It's kind of rough. Hand tight it. Make sure that there's nothing weird coming out. All right. Let me connect these guys. You want to make sure that you have access to everything. How you put the jack is important. Now, I don't want anything to touch when I put the bottom plate on. Okay, so, and it's also important to note, you know, what your input and your output is on these jacks. This outer part is ground. I'm trying to get it on camera. You can see right here, this is connected. So this is ground. Then This right here, this is your signal, input signal. You can see these two are connected, right? So this one is where the signal's coming in, and this is ground. So I need to make sure that I connect the black to this one right here. And I can connect it on either side because this whole thing is going to be ground. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me just pop this one in. Kind of just hand tightening these for now. Okay. All right, so my ground's all the way over here and over here. Either one looks good. I think I'm gonna leave this long. I think I'm gonna leave all of them kind of long because I have plenty of room. So let me just snip these and then solder the tips. And to be honest, I could probably just take these apart and solder them while they're not inside here, right? That'll probably be the smart thing, but you know what? They're being held together pretty good. Go ahead and solder the tips. Next is I'm going to connect the ground on this side. So I'm going to kind of see if I can pick this up. So I kind of fed it in. Okay, so let me just make sure that I put these two correctly. So the way I want it is the input signal to come in here and the output's going to come in here. So this is input, this is output. So input is going to be white. Make sure that it doesn't touch ground because that's very important. This one's actual signal. I'm soldering in a tight space, but I should probably done this a different way. Okay. And then this one is my output. Move these wires over. There you have it. If I have that like there, if I max it out, that's how the knob should look. Okay, you got to make sure that your points don't touch anything they're not supposed to touch. This is what it ends up looking like. We're gonna go ahead and try it out. Alright, so this is what it looks like. We have our effects send coming in here, and then our effects return coming into here, and then this is our volume. My preamp input is at noon. If anybody knows about this amp is extremely loud. It's a 60 watt tube amp. Extremely loud. I cannot really play this thing in the bedroom. As much as I love the sound out of this thing, I cannot play it in the bedroom because it's just too loud. So right now I have my volume on for the guitar. Let me pick it up. Okay. Okay, that's not amplified, by the way. So I'm gonna roll the volume a little bit. And there you have it. I mean, I can crank the pre as much as I want. I can lower this volume, put my pre at about, I don't know, 8. Sounds much warmer. I don't have to use this gain stage, you know, and it doesn't have that ugly breakup that I don't want. I still want to use my effects without having to change anything. So this is a really cool build. I highly recommend you guys doing this if you have this type of amp. I'm pretty excited that I was able to do this, and just follow along. You should be able to get this done. I may paint it. Make sure and stomp that like, subscribe, because I'll be pushing some more content related to music, pedals, amplifiers, pretty much anything. And I'll see you guys in the next one.